Hello, welcome back to Model Maker Dave's Workshop. I'm Dave. Hello everyone. Give us a few seconds to get everything sorted out with the cameras and the microphone and the lights and this and that and everything else, and maybe make a cup of tea. And I will see you down on the bench. Hello and welcome back to the bench. This is update number 3 for the Angel Interceptor. We are on take God knows how many. I seem to be having trouble with engaging brain before engaging mouth, or is it the other way round, because words just don't seem to be coming out right. Anyway, on we go. So canopy is on and has been coated copious amounts of time with Tamiya smoke to give it that dark, sinister kind of look to it. And it also kind of hides what's going on in the cockpit, but I shall cover that a little bit later in the video. So those of you with eagle-eyed vision will have noticed there are brassy type bits on this aircraft. Yes, the 20mm cannons have arrived and they have been deployed into the areas that I wanted them. Which actually makes the whole aircraft look so much better, and that one would be so much better if it was actually straight. So we'll have to straighten that up at some point. Anyway, so the side rocket pods have now been blended in. I'm happy with the way that they are now looking. They look as if they're supposed to be there. It's not as if they've just been stuck on willy-nilly and without any kind of thought or any process of trying to make them look a part of the aircraft. So yeah, so pleased with that. The aerials, avionic communication aerials, whatever you want to call them, they've come from the experiments that I was doing with the GR1. I had a couple left over and I thought they would look rather good on the back of the Angel to give it that look that there is a bit more to this than there was in the actual kit. So we are doing small detailed improvements. The other thing that you will have noticed is there's a small dot of plastic there, one there and one there. These will become representations of navigation lights. I've got another one I think I'm going to put up here somewhere, and I've got to do one on the underside as well. I've rescribed the panel lines on the upper wing surface. I've still to do the sides of the fuselage and the top, so and this top wing section as well. Turning it over, the cannon pods now actually look as if they are part of the aircraft rather than just two lumps of plastic that have been stuck in place. The auxiliary tank is now in place and I'm happy with where that's going to go. Whether I do any panel line scribing under here, don't know at the moment. I'm going to see how I feel about that. There is one area that I do need to put some thought to, trying to be a bit careful, is this exhaust end. I've stuck this bit on and I haven't really thought about it, but now it's kind of starting to be a bit of an eyesore and I need to think about what I want to do with that. So that's something that I need to work on. And the other thing that I have done, as he tries to hold this without knocking anything off, is hopefully you'll see that, I'm trying to move it around, that I've used a little bit of stretched sprue to make it look as though the leg of the undercarriage is actually attached to the front stay that goes down to the landing ski. Because before they was put on, it all just kind of looked as though it had just been stuck together, and there was no sense of purpose or story of how it all comes together to be how it is. So that's that bit done. Next up is this front stabilizer wing. There is a little bit of panel detail or panel line detail on them, but I think I'm going to make them smooth and leave them at that. What else? I think, oh yeah, the other thought that I did have and have thrown it out the window is in the Hurricane Mark II-B kit, where I've taken these 3 bits actually have all come from that kit. They also had the rocket launchers that you could put on the underside of the wing, and I was at one point toying with the idea of either putting them on the top or putting them underneath. But when I revisited the idea by looking at the parts on the sprue of the Hurricane kit, I decided that it was not a good idea, because it would just be two extra things slapped onto the wings, either on the top side or on the underside, and it would just be adding stuff that doesn't need to be there, because it would look as if it's just slapped on, no thought process has been put into it. It would just look out of character and completely stupid. The configuration that the Angel is in now could have possibly have been something that the creators of the show may have been thinking of if they was going to do an upgraded Angel Interceptor. It's entirely possible. Whether you would have had a cannon here, I don't know, because you've got the rocket pods on either side, and even thinking about it now, excuse me, even thinking about it now myself, this cannon might disappear. In the next video, that might not be there. I might take that out and fill in the hole and just leave the 2 underside cannons and the rocket pods on either side of the fuselage, because I'm beginning to wonder, and I'm beginning to think, is that too much? Because it does stick out quite a distance, and it would be quite an unstable weapon in flight, I would have thought. So I think that will be coming out. I don't think I'm going to have that there. That is looking, that's looking wrong. So even now, even before I get to the paint stages, I'm still thinking about, is this going to be a possible realization of what an upgraded Angel Interceptor would or possibly could have looked like? So that is that. So I think I'm going to have a walk away, and I'm going to have a think about that with a cup of tea before I do anything drastic. Now, here comes another scary bit. What I'm thinking of here is going back and doing a revisit. Although when you look down into the cockpit, you can just about see where the harness is on the seat. I'm thinking of still going for the photo etch harness. It'll give it a little bit more realism than the masking tape that I've put in there. The other thing that I'm thinking of is if I've got some old decals of cockpit detail that I can use to stick on to something like a piece of this, maybe cut that down a little bit so that it's just a bit thinner, and then it goes on either side of the cockpit just to give it a little bit more detail. Because there's another thought that is now in my mind, and it is a dangerous thought. It's a very dangerous thought because it does involve getting out a piece of equipment known as the saw. Now, I know in the show when the pilots come to getting into the aircraft, they come up from beneath and they're inserted from below. That sounds a bit painful if you ask me. What I'm thinking is this is on the service deck, possibly, with what probably will turn out to be some sort of photo etched ladder in this area. Maybe a trolley with some tools or something on, don't know. It's a bit wishy-washy, a bit woolly, as the idea is still developing inside my head somewhere. However, take said saw and cut canopy straight down here, or not straight down, but at the angle that the framework is going at, and this bit then tilts up, allowing the maintenance crew to get into the cockpit to do some cockpit maintenance. Now, whether there will be a figure standing on said ladder, hanging himself into the, angling himself into the cockpit so that he can do the work, I don't know. However, when it comes around to painting, along here and along here will be painted in black so that it will be somewhere where maintenance crew can put their feet so that they can stand either to go from ladder and then into cockpit or exit and out. So that's the thought process that's going on there. But it all depends on whether I can get a ladder or not. So I need to do some Tinterweb research and see what I can find. The probability is I might have to cut it down so that it fits. However, that's where my mind is going on that one. I'm going to have another think about this cannon here. Now that I've thought about it and looking at it from outside of the box, so to speak, I'm beginning to think that's wrong. So I think it could go. As for anything else on the underneath, I think I'm going to leave it at that. Less is more, as they say. So I think that's about as much as I want to cover on this update. There's quite a lot to get through, and there's quite a lot to think about. So I will say thank you very much for watching. If you haven't done so, then please subscribe. Also, don't forget to have a click on the bell, because then if you select the bell, you'll get notifications as to when I upload a video. So there's plenty more to come on this. There's still a long way. This is growing into its own little project, which is, I'm having so much fun with this. It is, yeah. Anyway, I'm still starting to ramble on and rattle on. So I'm going. Right. Thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe. Hit the bell so you get the notifications. And I will see you in the next one.